try to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point.
Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the diet and he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez would struggle to withstand Terence Crawford's challenge, pointing to the loss of energy and sharpness Canelo once displayed in his prime. He expressed disappointment over Canelo's apparent decline at the stage of his career. In contrast, Jones praised Crawford's relentless determination, laser focus, and world-class skill set. He stressed that weight difference would not determine the outcome, as Crawford's exceptional technique, timing, and ring intelligence could neutralize any size advantage. According to Jones, Canelo's current form leaves him vulnerable, and facing a fighter as skilled and unyielding as Crawford could expose weaknesses.
It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. And what I'm seeing is, I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who's not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
Roy Jones cautions that if Canelo approaches a fight overconfident, assuming victory over Terence Crawford is inevitable, he could face a brutal wake-up call. Jones stresses that underestimating Crawford's skill, strategy, and relentless style might result in a challenging, potentially punishing.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the dance.
Olympic boxer Omari Jones has voiced strong confidence in Terence Crawford's chances of defeating Canelo Alvarez. He noted that Crawford's weight gain for this fight is far from the typical, hasty approach fighters often take when moving up divisions. Instead, Crawford has executed the process with meticulous planning and discipline. By following a tailored diet, rigorous conditioning routines, and smart training adjustments, he has managed to add weight without sacrificing his trademark speed and agility. Jones emphasized that this calculated preparation positions Crawford to perform at his peak in a higher weight class, making the matchup a genuine win-win scenario.
The grit and me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. You're just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. I know they talk about Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the diet and he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right.
While the physical challenge of facing a larger opponent is undeniable, Jones believed Crawford's skill, discipline, and commitment will enable him to adapt seamlessly. He stresses that Crawford isn't simply adding weight for size alone, but rather building his body to handle it efficiently without sacrificing the speed, agility, and sharpness that make him such a dangerous fighter. For Jones, this bout represents more than just a matchup. It's a testament to a disciplined athlete pushing beyond previous limits, embracing the challenge, and proving he can rise to the occasion against one of boxing's most formidable and respected champions.
Like, the nutrition, like I said, the training. Crawford, he trains hard, so I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know you, like we discussed earlier, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it's actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then I was my second fight at Atlantic City on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Ben Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has highlighted Crawford's impressive physical transformation ahead of the fight, noting his noticeably larger frame. Rather than seeing this as a drawback, Malignaggi considers it a significant advantage. He believes Crawford has successfully added mass without compromising the quickness, footwork, and precise timing that have defined his career. Malignaggi pointed out that many fighters moving up in weight often lose sharpness, becoming slower and less mobile, but Crawford's preparation appears to have preserved his speed and agility while enhancing his overall physical presence.
No, I mean, listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, So there's times where it affects, and there's times where I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because of the way he's training, right? Because you're gonna be sparring with this added weight, you're gonna be doing the boxing training with this added weight, so you're gonna know how to maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up, and you get big, and then you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're gonna feel it.
Crawford seems to have found the ideal balance, adding the strength and durability needed to face a naturally bigger opponent like Canelo, while preserving the agility essential to his style. Malignaggi attributes this to Crawford's professionalism and meticulous attention to detail and training, observing that his physical growth complements his existing skills. In Malignaggi's view, Crawford is poised to perform at his peak despite the weight jump, and may even gain an advantage on the added power when dealing with Canelo's relentless pressure in the ring.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez, so that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said. You're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself. As I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym. It just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, and he's gone out there and said he's weighed, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight. We see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be that.
Renowned boxing analyst Max Kellerman delivered a detailed technical breakdown of the highly anticipated clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. He highlighted Crawford's jab as one of the most precise and effective weapons in boxing today. Fast, perfectly timed, and capable of dictating the fight's rhythm. While Canelo once possessed a similarly sharp jab earlier in his career, Kellerman observed that it has noticeably declined in recent years. This, he argued, gives Crawford a distinct edge in range control and scoring opportunities. Beyond the jab, Kellerman praised Crawford's exceptional tactical intelligence, noting his rare ability to make real-time adjustments and exploit openings other fighters fail to recognize, making him a uniquely dangerous opponent.
That attribute. First attribute, best jab. Crawford. Best defense. Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit. So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Kellerman contrasted this with Canelo's reliance on natural size, strength, and power, which often enables him to overwhelm smaller opponents. He suggested that if Crawford can halt Canelo's forward momentum and turn the bout into a tactical chess match, the advantage shifts strongly in Crawford's favor. Combining technical precision with exceptional fight IQ, Kellerman sees this as one of Crawford's key strengths in a matchup.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
Popular boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult offered a balanced and respectful perspective on the matchup. He recognized Canelo's formidable physical strength and the intensity of his training camps, which have helped him remain dominant at the sport's highest level. Canelo's toughness, relentless pressure, and sharp counterpunching make him a dangerous challenge for any opponent. At the same time, Showbiz praised Crawford's unique background, highlighting how his early wrestling experience has sharpened his ability to read opponents, anticipate their moves, and adapt seamlessly under pressure, qualities that could play a decisive role in such a high-stakes clash.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff is painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it. But he is a bull. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is strong. He is, okay? And he understands leverage and he understands those things because he wrestled. Honestly, very true. But Saul Canelo Alvarez is also extremely strong.
Across the boxing world, a clear consensus is formed. Crawford's strategy will be the deciding factor in this fight. Experts agree this isn't just another date on the calendar. It's a career-defining moment for Crawford, one that could cement his place among boxing's all-time greats. Defeating a champion of Canelo's stature would silence any lingering doubts and elevate Crawford's legacy to unprecedented heights. To succeed, he must rely on precision, patience, and adaptability, steering clear of reckless exchanges where Canelo's power is most dangerous. Analysts stress the importance of controlling distance, using angles to disrupt Canelo's forward pressure, and gradually wearing him down. More than raw power, They believe mental sharpness will determine the victor, with the winner being the fighter who stays disciplined, composed, and committed to their game plan for all 12 rounds.
Understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before. Because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's cool. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you know, he gotta work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you talking about right here, right? And so this is, I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act. That's not, there's 30 security guards.
It feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore.
You need big words to get out of fights. You know, you need big words to get out of fights. But you know, okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey, sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. He had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford-Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence, he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Khalid, a young George Foreman.
Super middleweight contender Edgar Berlanga shared his perspective on Crawford's mindset heading into the Canelo fight. He advised Crawford to remain true to the style and approach that had brought him success, rather than overhauling his game to counter the size difference. While acknowledging that moving up 2 weight divisions is a tremendous challenge, Berlanga noted it can also level the playing field in certain ways. He believes Crawford's skill, ring IQ, and adaptability will matter far more than trying to physically match Canelo. Berlanga emphasized the importance of clean execution, discipline, and composure under pressure. His view highlights that, regardless of the outcome, Crawford is already showing a champion's mindset by accepting such a dangerous challenge. For Berlanga, the willingness to face the toughest opponents is precisely what distinguishes truly great fighters from the rest, and Crawford's decision reflects that rare competitive spirit.
First of all, he got to go in there, he just got to fight him, you know what I'm saying? He got to go in there, I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do, you know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, you know, show his IQ, show him why he's a 2-time undisputed, you know, world champion, and go in there with confidence, you know what I'm saying? That's all it is, you know, it's a big weight difference, a big weight jump, you know, that could be a difference in the fight, you know, because obviously, you know, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a feel the power, I'm a feel that size difference, you know, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, you know, we'll just all know that, hey, you know, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not, he can't really, he's testing himself, testing himself a great fighter. So, and I don't doubt him, you know, I don't got no doubt in my mind. You know, he's a 2-time undisputed world champion for a reason. So, you know, and I don't think none's gonna phase him in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the power, maybe the size. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Canelo, he's not knocking Canelo out. So, he just got to go in there just IQ.
Would you lean towards Canelo still in that fight?
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it. You know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, you know, obviously the power. And Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a lot much bigger guys. You know, so I know the Crawford's power ain't gonna phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't gonna phase him either. You know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Legendary trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas has offered a simple yet powerful assessment of Terence Crawford. He believes Crawford is truly special, possessing greatness within him. Atlas sees in Crawford a rare blend of physical ability, technical mastery, and mental toughness that enables him to rise to any challenge. He stresses that greatness is not defined by talent alone, but by the capacity to perform when the pressure is at its peak. In his view, Crawford has consistently shown that quality throughout his career. This bout with Canelo, Atlas says, is another chance for Crawford to prove his greatness on boxing's grandest stage.
He's a little overrated. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moved up in weight class, can carry it, but those intangibles, I believe that he has it.
That's all for today's video. See you next time.